Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so very much for being here this afternoon. I promise there will be time at the end where we can continue these amazing conversations, and I also just want to say please feel free to continue talking a little bit, amongst yourselves. Appreciate you all for being here. Wanted to say thank you so much to our host, the Radisson. Thank you to our annual luncheon sponsor, Alaska Airlines. Thank you also to our event sponsors, Baker Commodities, Waste Management, and Crane Photography. Everyone has probably already seen Andrew taking photos this morning. Really appreciate you being here, Andrew. Also, South King Media is here. We are broadcasting live on Facebook. So in addition to the 100 or so people that we have here in the room, we're being joined by people remotely as well. So thank you to everybody who's watching us from home, and thank you to Scott and Teresa for allowing us to do that. We really appreciate your media partnership. I want to say also a special thank you to our guest speakers that took the time out of their really busy day to be with us here this afternoon. Council President Verna Seal from the City of Tukwila, Mayor Michael Siefkies from the City of SeaTac, Mayor Jonathan Chiquette from the City of Normandy Park, Mayor Matthew Pena from the City of Des Moines, and Mayor Jimmy Mata from the City of Burien. Thank you so much. So first up, from the beautiful city of Tukwila, I'm honored to present Council President Verna Seal.
Okay. Oh, great. As you can see, I am not Alan Eckberg, our mayor. He's shorter than I am, and his hair is a little bit different, but I want to thank everybody for being here today, and I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak about the beautiful city of Tukwila. I have a clicker. Look. Okay, we're on the screen. So everybody is in this room because of the love we have for our communities. And when I think of all that goes into community, I think about the past, present, and the future. And right now in Tukwila, we are simultaneously celebrating the past, activating the present, and laying grounds for the future. Next slide. Oh, look at that. Did you know that 2018 marks the 50th anniversary of the South Center Mall? I'm sure a lot of you in this room have amazing stories and memories of the mall, pictures, and we would like them. So if you have anything that you would like to share with us, send it our way. You can find South Center 50 on Facebook and Instagram to reminisce and share your photos and memories. Just search on South Center District 50 and you will get there. We have been working with Westfield South Center and the Chamber to mark the occasion with family, friends, and activities, including Touch a Truck and a 5K run. Speaking of 50th anniversaries, next year the Museum of Flight is one of just 4 locations nationwide that will host the Apollo 11 command module, the Columbia. There you go. The Smithsonian is going to loan it to us in honor of the 50th anniversary and the historic moon flight and the landing. And in fact, it will be in the city 50 years to the date that Neil Armstrong made his famous steps on the moon. And because I'm old, I remember that. And this is a thrilling and it's an honor for the city of Tukwila, so I will hope that you will all come out and take a look at it. So let's talk about the present day. I know of you have all seen the giant building that's down in the Tukwila Urban Center. This is the 19th story project that includes a luxury hotel with 185 rooms called the Hotel Interurban, as well as 371 residences called the Airmark Apartments. And there's also a robot. It has a ground floor restaurant called the Waterleaf Restaurant and a bar focusing on fresh Northwest cuisine. So right next to the hotel, another housing development is getting started, which will have 7 stories and 166 units for active seniors. It will feature modern living spaces, hospitality-style amenities like a wine bar and a reading room. I'm almost old enough to go there. And we are looking forward to seeing this project open next year, and we are also excited about having more new residents in our city. So here we have our South Center pedestrian bridge that will provide a 10-minute connection between the urban center and the Tukwila station for the Sounder train across the Green River. Have you guys been by? Who's been by this bridge? Does anybody walk their dogs across this bridge? This is a really, really, really cool bridge. My dogs like this bridge. We have also built a great pedestrian and bike improvements along Baker Boulevard. Has anybody seen the new bike lanes on Baker Boulevard? They're pretty cool. And I would like to give thanks to King County for their support for that project. And now we're looking to the future. The city is currently making significant investments for the next 50 years with our public safety plan. So many of our municipal buildings housing our important first responders have outlived their useful lifespans and are not even up to earthquake safety standards. So as you will recall, last year from the chamber event, we developed a public safety plan to build 3 new fire stations, a justice center, and upgrade our public works facility. We have spent many, many months working on this and many, many community meetings with this, and it's all coming together. And right now we are actively seeing the drawings and the schematics at the council meetings, and it's all coming together. It's been a lot of work. We still have a lot of work ahead, but we're very excited about this. And another thing I'm really excited about is our graduating seniors of Foster High School this year and our other schools in the area. And I want to talk a minute about inspirational leadership. I sat on the scholarship committee this year for our high school seniors. And this is just an amazing bunch of kids. All 3 of my children have graduated from Foster High School and have gone on to do exciting things. We have a Teens for Tukwila group. I just met with them last night. We met with them again on last Friday. We have a great working relationship with them. And as far as I can tell, the future's in good hands. So I want everybody to get out their calendars because I'm going to invite you to a few things. So you're going to write these down. On Friday, June 22nd at 10 a.m., we're going to hold a combined event to celebrate all of the new projects in our urban center. We're going to dedicate the pedestrian bridge, cut the ribbon for the Hotel Interurban, and break ground on the Alliance Senior Housing. Saturday, June 23rd, we'll have an open house for the public safety plan at 10 a.m., Fire Station 54. Bring your kids. We'll have a bouncy house. On the afternoon of July 21st, we'll have a community celebration for the opening of Tukwila Village on International Boulevard. I am in that library all the time. It is very dear to my heart. I sit on our library advisory board. It's amazing. This Saturday, if you're not doing anything, is the summer reading kickoff, so I'd invite you to be there. But we are also hosting on August 19th from 2 to 4 a reading by the river in partnership with the King County Library. Duwamish Hill Preserve. September 28th, we're going to host a gala evening event to celebrate the South Center's 50th. And this is going to be a lot of fun, so you're going to want to be there. So I think I almost did that in maybe 5 minutes.
We have good.
See, things are really happening in Tukwila. And if you haven't been to Tukwila lately, I invite you to come. It's a great place. We're really working hard, and I thank you very much.
And now it is my honor to invite to the podium Mayor Michael Siefkies from the City of SeaTac.
Thank you. You know, this is my 3rd year in a row of doing this. The first year I had been mayor scarcely more than maybe a month. And our economic development director, Jeff Robinson, handed me, I think it was him that handed me a list and said, here's all the projects going on. So I went up and I read the list and really didn't know what was going on. You know, we've got a lot going on in SeaTac, and I probably still don't know everything that's going on at this point, but I do my best. So thank you for hosting this event again, for the sponsors and for the chamber. I appreciate this. We as a city have had a lot of groundbreakings, a lot of ribbon cuttings, and the news is pretty much all straight up good for the city of SeaTac. Yesterday we had a groundbreaking for a construction on the 24th, 26th Street corridor that's for AIC and Trammell Crow that's going to bring 460,000 square feet of light industrial. That's actually on port property, so we've appreciated the port making better use, at least for our purposes, of property they have in the city of SeaTac. That project will bring about 400 full-time jobs, and it was really a partnership between a lot of different parties. So I appreciate our city's employees and the different parties that came together to reach that agreement. Last year when I had this, I talked about our negotiations with the Port of Seattle. We had at the time, what was an outdated interlocal agreement with the port that kind of ran our relationship with the port and how we dealt with each other on different issues like access, transportation, all sorts of different issues. We went through the process. It took 1.5 years, I think, of negotiations, hard fought, and when we came out to the end, we came up with a great agreement that's helpful to our city and I believe helpful to the port, helping us. We want the airport to be successful, and in order to do that, we need to have the ability to use some of the funds the airport gets to make it more accessible coming through our city. So we were able to complete that. We have a new nature trail along Angle Lake Park and Riverton Heights Park. You know, I'm going to run out of time if I talk too long.
You're fine.
I can go for 10? Thank you. Angle Lake Station opened quite some time ago, but you know, when they designed Angle Lake Station, the city insisted on some things, including the parking, because there wasn't a lot of parking along the light rail stations, and the city insisted that they put in some good parking there, which they did, and they designed it so that there was a space there, a public space that we could put in either a farmer's market or food trucks or things like that, and that's we're at the beginning stages of using that, right? Right, Jeff? Okay, I'm just not. If Jeff nods, I'm saying the right thing. If he nods the wrong way, then I'm going to backtrack. We have a couple fire stations that we built a fire station and we're tearing down a couple and selling the property. We have our city airport advisory committee and a mayor's roundtable that meet to discuss airport-related issues. And some of you probably already know this, but our city manager, Joe Scorcio, who's done such a great job for us, is going to be retiring at the end of this year. We'd like to keep him for another couple years. We're losing the tug of war with his wife. And we probably should, though we don't want to. So we're in the process of reviewing applications for that at this point. Our city finances. We have a 6-month strategic reserve of $19.3 million, which is based on, and we have an annual budget of around $37 million, so you can have the scope of our strategic reserves. We only have $2.6 million worth of bond debt, and that's only, most of that is because we're a member of the SCORE jail, and we can't retire it early, even though we'd like to just say we owe nothing to anybody. And we can, though, according to our city, we could go bond $70 million, so we're choosing not to at this point. And a 3-year average capital improvement program of $14 million. So we're happy with our finances. Crime, our police chief, we had a discussion with him, and he said crime is generally down throughout our city. Little crime in the residential neighborhoods. Last year we added 1 police officer. You know, it takes a long time to add a police officer. You can't just say we're hiring a police officer and have one the next day. You say we're getting a police officer and you get one 9 to 12 months later. So we added 1, and with the help with our agreement with the port, we're adding 6 more police officers this year. So we'll have a great ratio of police officers to residents in our city. A couple of them will be on motorcycles taking care of traffic issues like we face at 160th and anyway, different areas. Started a permit parking program because we get some overflow from people wanting to get on their airplane, park in our neighborhood, park their car, jump on the airplane, and expect their car to be there when they get back. And we're hoping to disabuse them of that. It's a lot cheaper than going to some of the parking places, I understand, but we don't want that. The people don't want that in front of their houses. Last slide, promise. We have 22 active projects in the pipeline, including lodging, industrial, residential, and education projects. These projects represent about $600 million of development. That includes the Alaska Airlines headquarters expansion, a school. Tonight, right after this, I'll be going to a hotel called Aloft, well, a little later this afternoon, to do a ribbon cutting for them. And so groundbreaking yesterday, ribbon cutting today. Those are happy times for mayors, I can tell you that. Nobody yells at you. 9 new hotels will be online in a couple years, adding about 1,300 more rooms to our inventory, 2 of which are recently opened, the Residence Inn at Engle Lake and Aloft. So we're happy with how our city is going. I'm happy with how the people that make our city what it is, what they're doing and how they're doing it, and SeaTac's a great place to live. Thank you.
It's now my honor and pleasure to invite the mayor of Normandy Park to the stage, Mr. Jonathan Chiquette.
So today for Normandy Park is a pretty significant day because today actually is our 65th year anniversary. In the last 65 years, Normandy Park has grown from just 1,600 residents to the 6,725 residents we have today, and an expected population of more than 7,300 residents by the year 2022. When it comes to our business sector, 213 businesses have more than 1,300 employees in Normandy Park. And we're honored to have these businesses in Normandy Park, and we continue to work with them to improve their successful longevity. We've made great strides in defining our future needs in the business sector by utilizing the combined strengths, partnering with the Port of Seattle and with the Seattle Southside Chamber of Commerce. As much as we have enjoyed the small town feel our community provides, Normandy Park wants to expand in significant but sustainable ways. One of these ways is by actively, strategically rezoning along the First Avenue corridor and around the business areas and the business centers. With better zoning and a transparent design methodology to aid future commercial development, the next 25 years will be a story of prosperity in Normandy Park. With prosperity and sustainability, business growth in Normandy Park will build the next chapter in our infrastructure and provide the community with the resources they need now and innovations that will carry future generations safely into the next quarter century. Planning for the next 25 years goes beyond comprehensive planning. It goes beyond council meetings and commissions. It's the work of champions and doers that, when called, arrive at the ready to help shape the vision and put it into motion. And these people are all of you. Doing your best to support the cities in which you live, putting it all on the table to make a difference, enhancing the environments we all share. It's this sharing of ideas and working to pool resources, being better neighbors as cities and as residents that allows us the strength to move forward and build great things today, tomorrow, and together. Thank you.
I feel a little bit like we should sing happy birthday to Normandy Park, but I'll refrain. So now it is my honor to welcome Mayor Matt Pena to the stage from the city of Normandy, from the city of Des Moines. I'm so sorry. I'm looking at Jonathan thinking about singing happy birthday.
Well, it really is a pleasure to be here today. Like all mayors that are here, we could go on for hours talking about our cities and how proud we are of them. The situation in Des Moines is continually moving forward in a very exciting way. I am going to kind of frame my presentation around the questions that Andrea had sent out, just because I guess I'm being an IT guy and pretty much ones and zeros, and I look for those kinds of things. So the first, I'll start there.
Perfect.
Okay, so when we talk about the workforce and education, this topic is of great concern to us. You know, we're a city that's going through a lot of economic development, and we're experiencing a lot of growth. Primarily, many have heard us talk about our Des Moines Creek Business Park. And it's got over 2 million square feet of commercial office and expansion, including the new FAA regional headquarters, as seen here on the screen right now. This building is almost 300,000 square feet. It's a $100 million building, and it houses over 1,600 federal employees. These are technical jobs. Throughout the business park, we have several other businesses, and in total, we anticipate the employment somewhere in the range of 4,000 to 4,500 jobs. So workforce development and education are critical factors to the city of Des Moines. And we need to be able to attract skills and skilled employees in a variety of areas. So we work closely with Highline College and other institutions to help us provide jobs and job training for our residents and to help our businesses be successful in attracting skilled workers. We are also working with some of our local unions that are trying to help some of their workers get back into the workforce, and it's a hand-up methodology that we're in the early stages of discussion, but it's something that's new for us. When I talk about the regional business climate, I think one thing to say is that the increased transportation infrastructure, especially the extension of the Link Light Rail and the city's new program of providing a community shuttle in partnership with Metro to assist with multimodal options for commuters to provide a link or links between the business park, our downtown core, is one key advantage in Des Moines. And we've partnered with Metro Transit to do this. And so we have a connection that will take people from the light rail stop on 200th and bring you all the way down into our downtown corridor and through the city and our marina. So making it so people don't necessarily have to drive to work. Secondly, we're also experiencing actually throughout the South Sound, a comparative advantage relative to other areas in a region in terms of cost of land. As land costs continue to be less than other areas north and in the east, we're going to see continued growth across all sectors, residential, commercial, retail, and others. And we're working diligently to manage our way through them. However, one of the challenges I think that faces our region is to assure that we have an appropriate business mix between residential development, business development, having quality retail, and focusing on destination locations. But we're definitely focused on Des Moines being a destination location. We have developments happening in all of the sectors that I just mentioned. And we have some recent creative folks that have approached us to put a little bit more time and thought into the idea of ecotourism. Being a waterfront community, we need to think beyond the land, because the Puget Sound has some of the largest octopus population in the area, and diving is a very popular sport. We also think that the efforts by the port to assist with the economic development in this process by providing grants is a very positive step in trying to help all of us identify our competitive advantages and develop this region going forward. These are a couple of other slides. This is a gateway project that's coming into Des Moines. We've been working on it for a long time. This does go by the business park, but it's looking west. This will be completed later on this year. And then, of course, we have our marina. And our marina is an opportunity. We consider it the gem of Des Moines. It is home to our farmers market and many events. Many people come down to visit us strictly for that and to enjoy the sunset. We are looking for ways to better develop that property to make it, to continue it as a working marina, but also make it a regional attraction that's even more inviting to everyone around the area. So we're very proud of what's going on in Des Moines, as all of you are with your towns. And we enjoy our partnerships and our conversations. And come on down, enjoy the waterfront and the sunsets tonight.
And now it is my honor and my privilege, of course, last but certainly not least, to invite Mayor Jimmy Mata from the city of Burien to the podium.
Well, good afternoon. It should be about afternoon here. First of all, it's a great honor to be here in front of you today. I want to thank the staff from Burien. I know they do good work in making sure that we're operating our businesses and our city government is operating correctly. And then the businesses from Burien, thank you for being here. I want to talk a little bit about a residential development that was just, it's been a plan in place for quite a while. And if you've had a chance to visit Burien, had a chance to look at it, it's great. People congregate there. But beyond that, right, we looked at the development part of it and whether they're getting a return of investments. And I got to tell you that this property, that 230 unit development that was built, met expectations. And so with that, it's pretty exciting because now we have other people that are calling up and saying, hey, we'd like to start building in Burien, and they have, right? So we know we got a couple of apartment complexes that are going to be put in place with amenities, and so Burien is a destination for them. Oh, yes. Sorry about that. So as you can see, as I said, as you can see, now you can see, it's a great building, great, beautiful downtown, and we have the farmer's market. If you haven't made it, we'd love to see you down there. And obviously our healthcare jobs, healthcare buildings. We've had $52 million of investment in youth healthcare facilities. We've got about another $100 million that's going to be invested with the regional hospital there, or one of the hospitals there. We're very grateful that Kaiser Permanente and CHI Francisca operate their businesses there. We want to make sure it's a friendly business environment for individuals that are trying to expand in our city. And this is the most exciting stuff. This is, some industrial properties just come on, just open, and some of it's still under development. We got about 125,000 square feet under construction, about another 325 square feet. We're pretty excited, so we're working with partners in the area to make sure that we're bringing in new tenants. As you well know, Burien is close to the airport. We have the cold store right behind this facility. That's one of the biggest cold store here in Washington. We have Washington cherries that get exported, and also chocolate and cheese that get sent all over the world.
All the fruits.
So one of the biggest highlights is we're pretty happy about our opportunity zone, right? So if you're going to invest some money in Burien, you have some tax incentives on your capital gains when you come into Burien. This is going to be covering around the Highline Hospital, the Five Corner, and encompasses downtown. So pretty exciting for us. Great opportunity to invest some money, get some return on investments. Although we want big tenant anchored tenants in Burien, we're also concerned, right? Because with growth comes a burden of growth to the small businesses. And to us, small businesses is the paradigm of our city. We have great food. We're called Foodie Paradise, and want to make sure that the growth doesn't affect our small businesses that keep our city vibrant and keep the flavor and part of our fabric of our community. The other great part of that is that we're ranked number 3 through Walk Score as the best walking city in Washington. So I'm pretty happy about that. I know that we're going to be expanding some sidewalks, and the county's come in and helped through the H-line expansion. We believe that that's really going to help bring in new people to open up new businesses into Burien, and also the people that live there to be able to be part of economic prosperity with their small businesses. Burien is 85th in the United States as a place to raise a family, and we're pushing right towards that and making sure that we continue to do that by being involved with our youth, making sure that we've got a little youth council getting organized and making sure that we're serving all areas of Burien. I don't know if you're aware of this, but Burien is a city that has very wealthy, working middle class, and very poor. So we have some challenges. Every single part of the community has different needs, and so we want to make sure that we have a holistic and kind of a wraparound view of how we can represent everybody. With that, I want to thank you. It's been great here being in front of you, and I really appreciate the work you do and being involved in building an organization that represents businesses. It's always needed. And with that, if you have any questions, you can follow up with me on my contact information. Thank you very much.
All right, and so unfortunately, Mayor Pena from the city of Des Moines did have to run out for a groundbreaking. So we are who we are and thrilled to have you here. So really quick panel discussion. One of the things that our chamber is really focused on this year, we started a foundation, a 501c3 Success Foundation. We hired a foundation director, Elizabeth, who's here, And we are focused on economic development, but we are also focused on what is that philanthropic arm of our organization? How can we better serve our community? And one of our focuses is going to be on education and workforce development. We know that jobs change lives. Where's Betsy from Goodwill over here? Yeah, jobs do. That's the message of Seattle Goodwill. Jobs do change lives. And as a Chamber of Commerce, we really want to raise the tide for our region. So, opening up for discussion, are we doing enough for education and workforce development? Can the business community do more? If so, what? What would those partnerships look like? Whoever wants to go first.
Okay, so I have the microphone, So when I look at the workforce, we talk a lot about higher education, and it's not to say that higher education isn't important, but I think we can all look around when you're driving into Seattle or pretty much anywhere within the greater Puget Sound area. There's cranes everywhere, which means we're building a lot. And when you look at the population growth over the next several years, we're going to need people with skilled labor. And so it's not just a matter of getting people educated, it's making sure that we have the right people available to build our next generation. The next generation is unique buildings that take into effect how to be greener and more reliant on less of the city, right? Solar power, recycled air, recycled water, whatever it might be. It's going to take a unique combined skill set of not just STEM training, but understanding brick and mortar building.
Let them know that trades are a great opportunity. Like Jimmy, I have one that graduated with a degree in biochemistry and from UW, but then I have another one who's a carpenter. And you know what? One is not better than the other. We need to promote the trades, and I think that's where businesses can get involved. We need to create apprenticeship. We need to create mentor opportunities. We need to create internship opportunities for our kids. I mean, we live in an area with a vibrant urban center. I'm talking about Tukwila right now, or all of South King County. We need to really partner with our schools and provide those apprenticeship programs and those opportunities for our kids. Because, you know, at the end of the day, they're going to be the ones taking care of us. They're going to be building our houses. They're going to be, you know, doing all those things that we want to be able to take advantage of. So we've got to think about them. And I really think we have placed so much emphasis on STEM, which we need to do. But I think on the flip side of that, we need to let kids know that it's okay if they don't want to go to a four-year college. And there's a real opportunity. I mean, I know what a fifth-year apprentice carpenter makes. And they're making good money.
That's a good job.
It's a great job. Oh, my son gets there soon.
You know, when I think of this, I think of it at kind of the micro level. So I'm an attorney by trade, and I get people that come to me all the time and they say, I'd like to be an attorney. When I grow up, I want to do this type of law or that type of law. And I say, do you know what you're doing all day? You know, what are you actually doing? You may have this idealized version of what this career path is going to be or what this job is going to be. But do you realize that most of the time you're going to be sitting at a desk typing on a computer? And when they hear that, maybe they're a little less enthralled. So if we open up our doors to the teenagers and the young adults and say, hey, you know, come ride along with me today or come to my office today and you can see what I really do, okay? Because it's all different than the idealized version. The world needs plumbers. Boy, when you need a plumber, you need a plumber. Okay? And if there's a day and you need a plumber and you need an attorney, you need a plumber before you need the attorney. Okay? And same with a lot of the other trades. And they're very successful. I know a lot of plumbers and craftsmen, electricians, and they do very well. There's nothing better or worse their job than my job than any other job. In fact, their job is a lot, especially in healthcare, would be a heck of a lot more important than mine. You know, they need to see what the job actually entails, so they don't go waste time in college on a career path that is not really what they want to be doing, but simply an idealized version of what they're thinking they want to do.
Good point. Yeah, no, appreciate that. Last question, and then we'll turn it over to you and your question. So a quick reminder, 683-4585. That is my number. Go ahead and text your questions to me. So Mayor Pena from Des Moines had to leave because there's a groundbreaking. We do, as Mayor Seifkes mentioned earlier in his presentation, have a ribbon cutting later this afternoon at a loft. Business is booming here in Seattle Southside. You know, our region is growing tremendously. Economic development is huge. But what is the general consensus, or you as elected officials, what are you hearing from your constituents about the overall economic or business climate here, overall feel?
Oh, do you want to go the same direction?
Yeah.
We'll go in order.
So one of the things is taxation. Right? It's tough. I mean, people are getting taxed out of their homes, taxed out of their businesses. You know, as you well know, I got to say to developers and investors, hey, we don't have a head tax in Burien, so you're more than welcome to come to Burien and build a business. You know, but we also have other pressures, right? You know, we got a situation with housing just raising, and so we have, you know, the homeless situation, and so nobody really wants to say who's responsible for it, right? But at the end of the day, business suffers from it, residents suffer from it, small cities like ours suffer from it economically, and coming up with solutions, right? So the other part is, obviously, you know, we're a world economy, and having a world economy, we got to make sure we stay competitive. You know, the tariffs that have just been hit. I mean, I'm in the construction industry. I'm a general contractor. You know, it's 60% on metal studs. We just got an increase on drywall. So guess what? That's going somewhere. And so at some point, you get a development, you get business saying, well, this doesn't make sense anymore. If it's going to take me 60 or 70 years to pay this debt off, I mean, it just doesn't make economic sense. So there is some downward pressure on everything just going up. And so, but on the flip side, I also believe that we have some, you know, I see the millennials and I see our young people with really they're just bright, they understand kind of where they want to go. And so we're kind of in this situation, I think my daughter said the best way, midlife crisis. America's in a midlife crisis right now. But I see our youth going to become the vibrant, going to be, I think, the economical engine for our country again.
Yeah, and I could echo a lot of those sentiments. And I want to, when you're talking about the cost of things going up, and we look at the enormous amount of growth that's going on around us, the impact to the businesses, especially the small businesses, we wonder why there's homeless issues, or we wonder why, although we see all this prosperity and the stock market's going up, or whatever it might be, we see all these indicators that things are going up, and yet people around us are hurting, right? And it's because those small little changes that we make as communities, as cities, as states, as a federal government, those little changes affect the little businesses, and they affect them quickly and dramatically. So as a region, as a community, I think we need to be more proactive in reaching out, utilizing the resources around us and the people around us that know better. So many of us have either run a business or been in a position where we have worked with somebody to consult them in better practices, how to be more successful. Sharing of knowledge and sharing of ideas is what's going to get us out of this, and then making the right decisions based on that good information. Good data will drive good decisions, but we need the right data and the right information in order to make them.
Yeah, I agree with what they both said. The other thing too is I think South King County is just booming. I mean, it is booming, and because we've got it all, right? We've got a great urban center, we've got a great transportation corridor, we're making transportation and infrastructure improvements all the time. But with that, you know, it's kind of like how to find the balance. And I think that's going to be one of the keys, is striking that balance. Because with good economic times, you know, you want the big companies to come in, but with that, you're going to see housing issues. You're going to see rising price of housing. You're going to see more wear and tear on infrastructure. You're going to have to need better services. You're going to need more fire. You're going to need more police. So all that. So where is the balance? And I think that's what I do know that our council struggles with, that is to how to find that balance. And you know, and land use issues. I remember a very wise council member told me one time, land use issues are the most contentious thing you're ever going to deal with as a city council member, and it is very, very true. Because there's always a winner and there's always a loser. right? So you got to find that balance. But I think the two gentlemen before me said, we're not going to solve the problem or the issues or find the solution in isolation. We have to work together. And I think everybody in this room, I think, organizations like this have such value because this is where those solutions are going to be found. We can sit there and try to figure it out on our own, but that's not going to work. So I applaud everybody in this room, and that's where partnerships, reaching across the table and making those relationships and forming those partnerships.
Thank you. We've had a good time of prosperity over the last few years, but we all know that that's not going to continue on that upward trajectory, completely upward for the rest of our lives. That should be nice. So, the problem is to make sure that we, at least for our city, to make sure that we plan for those leaner times ahead, that we do not get ourselves in a situation where we have commitments above what we're able to cover in the future. So we try to do a good job of making sure that we map out at least the near future, worst case scenarios, best case scenarios. We've got a good staff that does that. I found some value. We have a mayor's roundtable that city managers and the mayors go to, and get together and talk about our issues in different cities that are related to each other. So it's Burien, Des Moines, Normandy Park, and SeaTac, and we, sorry, Tequila. Maybe we'll invite you soon. So we have common issues that go across the streets. We're across the street from Des Moines, and across the street from Tequila, and across the street from the surrounding cities, and just because you have a stoplight or a street corner doesn't mean that the criminal that's on one side of the street doesn't walk across the street and is a criminal on your side of the street. So we've been working together and sharing our ideas on ways we can work together as a community and as a region.
Perfect. Well, I like the answers to all of those questions because certainly as a regional chamber, we are always looking for ways to partner, and we know that we will find the solutions in working together. Absolutely. So appreciate all that. So I am getting some text messages here, so you guys aren't quite off the hot seat yet. So just a few questions that are coming in. We don't have a lot of time, but again, 206-683-4585. So this touches a little bit on some of the things that we were talking about with just the housing affordability, right? So as the economy booms, the countywide, the mid-priced home, this person says is $730,000, which requires a pretty hefty, hourly salary to be able to afford that. And how can we work together, find those solutions to some of these regional problems, especially when we're talking about housing affordability, within our community. So we're going to solve the housing affordability here in 3 minutes.
Okay, I'm going to solve it right now. That's a really tough question. I mean, I saw the first house I bought in Tequila for $146,000, just went on the market not too long ago for over $5. I mean, that's just crazy. But what I think we have to do is first of all, we need to lobby the state legislature. There are things that the state legislature can do that will pass on some tax incentives for people to build and I'm going to say affordable housing, but I want to use the term housing for all. And that's just teachers, paralegals, doctors, even lawyers fresh out of law school. If you didn't graduate from a top-notch school, I mean, in my firm, I mean, we take you've got to clerk for a federal judge. I mean, it's tough out there. But I think the key is we need to look at different housing options, and we need to be able to help our longstanding communities understand that sometimes density, multifamily housing, affordable housing are not bad for our communities. These are things that are good for our communities. And it's all about how you talk about it. And so that's, we're making a lot of progress in Tukwila on this issue. But it's been a fight. It's been really, really hard. But I think the key is communication, making sure people know what you are doing and understand how it will impact their neighborhoods.
So I'll try to be brief. I don't normally think of affordable housing as the issue or as an issue. It's really affordable living, because affordable housing is just a bigger, it's one of many things, one of the many problems we're seeing. And we've all touched on this, from the cost of building goods. If somebody was to build affordable housing right now, it's not going to be affordable, it's going to be cheap. It's going to be cheap materials, it's not going to be what we want to put people in. What we want to do is give people the ability to live a better life. And the way to do that is lobby the state Senate, lobby the federal Senate, lobby somebody to get them off the position that we can continue to raise the cost of building goods, that we can continue to raise the cost of food, and that's okay. We can't do that. We can only live together and be better together if we actually work together for common good.
I believe we have the state has a situation going on with their taxation. There's some cities that get taxed more than others. Burien, compared to other cities I'm not going to name, we end up paying more property tax. And not only is it that they're raising house prices, but also, I think we're going to have to come into a room and have that tough conversation. Government can't continue to spend money; we'll go broke. I mean, we don't have enough money to create low-income housing. I do think that we need to look at where we're at with our young people, of being innovative, of making sure that we have a space where our youth can grow and be able to be competitive around the world. If you look at other countries, the amount of money they're investing in their educational system, or at least not the amount of money, but at least how they're breaking that down, it concerns me. Hey, look, I live in Burien, and I had a house, and now I'm looking at buying one, so I can tell you that I know what people are going through. It's tough. You look at our medium house price about $430, $440. You look at that, and you're saying, okay, well now, how are we going to structure as a family to afford this, right? So I do believe that I don't have all the answers, but I can tell you that I welcome any table that wants to have that discussion. But we're going to have several partners there. We're going to have business. We're going to have the nonprofits. We're going to have the politicians, right? Because one group suggests one thing, and then next thing you know, there's a fight, right? You're the bad person on Facebook, and then you say something, and then all of a sudden you're the bad person on that. So I really do think that it's a regional situation, and we have to come together and figure out what kind of housing we need, right? I'm a strong believer about housing for youth. We have a lot of youth that it'd be nice to have a super facility that's a smart building that could start talking about innovation. I mean, because if we're an innovative country, I mean, we'll be able to make our country more powerful or stronger.
Mayor Siddiqui, do you have anything to add?
Oh, sure. How long you got?
30 seconds.
Perfect. The issue, it's old economics you learned in high school or college, supply and demand. We don't have a large enough supply for the demand that's out there. I believe I read, maybe it was Seattle Times or a different newspaper, that we had 120,000 people move into the Seattle area over the last year. I mean, you can't keep up with that sort of demand for housing. So if we make it easier for people to build, I think that increases the supply and will lower prices. And the second point, very brief, when they calculate figures for affordable housing and whether housing is affordable, they're basing that on people's salaries, people's income. So another way to create more affordable housing is simply make sure everybody has better income. So, that's a way to solve it. Pay your employees more. I'm sure they'd be happy with that.
All right. Thank you. And one more round of applause for all of our